the March 13th, Village of Armada meeting, regular council meeting will now come to order. Please rise for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge
allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
So, Michelle, would you take the roll call, please?
Clark?
Here.
Bowman?
Here.
Ballard?
Here.
Sledge?
Here.
Belkey?
Here.
Do we have an approval for the agenda?
Mr. President, I'll move the agenda be accepted as presented.
Support.
All in favor of the motion? Motion by Ballard, supported
Yep.
by Clark. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion's carried. Do we have a citizen comment? Okay. No citizen comments. No presentations. Administrative reports. Would one commissioner like to take? Well, you know what? I think this is also where we're going to have our distinguished lawyer, barrister, talk about the president situation with Marv's passing. You want to do that? And then we'll go on with the department reports.
Okay, so just so everybody is kind of operating under the same rules. So, a death or resignation in any office, but what we're talking about, obviously the president, creates what's called a vacancy of office. And vacancy is a little bit different. As you all know, when there's an absence, if the president's out of town, then the mayor pro tem acts. And you're required by your general law village charter to appoint a president pro tem to fulfill in an absence. When a death occurs, or a resignation creates a vacancy, it's incumbent upon the council then to fill that vacancy. Certainly the mayor, the president pro tem can act for a period of time, but it isn't intended to be a permanent filling of that office. So under the General Law Village Act, and I'll just read, this is from the handbook from the MML on General Law Village. It says, if the office of the president becomes vacant for any reason, the council must appoint a president to serve until the next regularly scheduled village election. So we have a 2-year term for our president, clerk, and treasurer. So obviously we're not waiting, we're not filling a term until the next election and running then to complete a term. This will kind of fall in the right 2-year sequence. So essentially whoever you appoint to fill the vacancy of president will serve for the remainder of the unexpired term. And because President Olek would have had to run a year from November, if that makes sense. So it kind of worked out well because of the 2-year term. Now the question is, what is the qualifications to appoint someone? And what the MML handbook goes on to point is that the president pro tem does not automatically become president. Okay, so there's no like ascension or succession automatically because you're the president pro tem. Rather, anybody who is a qualified elector of the village, so anybody that could run for office, you can appoint. So it's kind of it's open. You can choose to appoint someone from council. You can choose to appoint someone who's not on council. As long as they're a qualified elector of the village, they are eligible for appointment. So I'll stop there. Any questions up to that point, and then I'll get into some of the processes that we've used in the past to fill vacancies. Pretty straightforward.
Well, I have one.
Sure.
If I was appointed president, right now, my term as trustee goes not to the next election, but the election after that. If I was appointed president to fill Marv's term, would I be able to, if I didn't run for president, would I be able just to finish my last 2 terms as a trustee?
No, because you can't serve.
Because you
Okay,
vacate, you vacate.
so I figured that was the case,
Yeah.
but
Yeah.
and then the second question would be, at what time period should the council make this appointment?
We don't have a specific time.
Because
Right.
from what you're saying, that the council needs to appoint a president who can be either from the council, any one of us, or from the community.
Correct.
So now we have to post it to the community, I'm thinking, so they know that opportunity is there for them.
Or can council make
Well,
a decision that they're going to appoint from the council, or?
I was gonna transition to that
Yeah,
next.
okay.
Okay.
So, what we've done in the past, and I think this has come up most with people either resigning as a trustee, not necessarily the president, but we generally have requested letters of interest, relatively informal process, but we generally posted in the official village newspaper and basically said, if you're interested, submit a letter of interest. And then we would generally schedule a time for someone to come. Sometimes we do that before the start of the official meeting, or sometimes right at the meeting, you know, but we just kind of basically have questions, kind of ask some questions of the candidates or those interested, and typically at the next meeting after the interviews were completed, council would fill the vacancy on council. Are you required to do that? No, there's nothing, there's no law that says how you fill the vacancy. It's in your discretion. Like I said, past practice, Dave, has been to outreach to the community, but you're not required to. If there's somebody on council that you feel can fill it, you can fill that vacancy in the office of president, you know.
And then advertise for a trustee.
So, and how long should they wait before they?
Well, again, I don't think, again, there's no hard and fast rule, but, you know, my fear would be, I'd rather know if council is deadlocked. You know, if there's like a 3-3, we've got a problem, you know, because, you know, and I don't think we would. I'm just saying, though, that I'd rather know kind of where council's headed sooner rather than later. Because again, you know, you don't want that vacancy to be out there, you know, for an extended period of time. So I can't give you an exact rule, but I would probably say just a rule of thumb, 30 to 60 days maximum would be my recommendation. And that's only a, you know, recommendation. I can't point to something, but I think, you know, it's kind of like you know what your duties are, and it's clear that under the General Law Village Act, you have the duty to fill the position, so it's your kind of comfort level. Are you discharging your duties that you took an oath to uphold? And that's kind of the way I look at it. So again, and it may be dictated a little bit, are you going to go out into the community? Are you going to solicit? That obviously is going to add probably 2 meetings, because you're going to have to interview for one meeting and then, you know, appoint at the next meeting. You don't have to, again, you can appoint someone right away, but so you're adding to it if you're going to reach out to the community. Now, in terms, if you were to appoint somebody from the council, are you required to then, is there a requirement that you go out for a trustee? Again, the answer to that is no, it's your preference. To do that, like I said, we typically, I think at the trustee level, Michelle, I think over the years have done that. You know, letter of interest. It adds some credibility to the process that you know, looked at other candidates. But again, you're not required to.
And what would happen with that trustee seat, dependent upon who moves, is, Dave, your term is up right now as a trustee in 2028.
Yes.
They would fill your term from now until 2026, till 2024. And then we would run for a partial term for the rest of that.
Yep.
If somebody else is up to run next, then, you know, then your term would just go full term for whoever. So it just depends on where you go and how you do it. So
they're basically just taking over Dave's.
yes,
Correct.
yeah. Well, until the next regular election, they're not
Right.
filling his whole term.
Right, okay.
So, but if you are somebody that is up in 2024, then that would be a 4-year appointment.
Would we be wrong in saying that we want to put this on the agenda next meeting, how we want to handle this?
Yep.
Well, I think, I mean, if you're gonna appoint from within, if that, after the discussion, I think we should have a motion ready to do so.
Yeah, I
at
mean,
that
we
time.
can, we can give you, just so
Yeah.
we're prepared, Michelle. I
And then
can
if you,
have-
and then if
to
you,
a
you're
point blank.
deadlocked and you don't wanna do that and you wanna go out, then you can make that decision as well. So, we can, I mean, we can have a couple of, options ready.
Well, I would like to see us appoint the president from within this body,
Yeah,
and then go out
For the
for the trustees.
trustee, yeah, I would too.
Probably.
okay,
be-
so do you believe then for the next agenda, then we would be ready to appoint someone?
Yes,
So
we
we'll put that on, okay, all right, we can do that.
Jeff, is there an issue with Mike being gone? Does he, I mean, that's his own volition to do so. He's not getting paid for not being here. Do we need to involve him in any way? I'm not sure when he's coming back.
I think we should make contact with them and say,
Yeah.
council has
this is what we're
requested
thinking.
that at the, I'm just looking at the date, the March
27th.
27th meeting,
Yeah,
you know, we have an agenda item scheduled, and if he chooses, you know, again, if he chooses
At
not
least
to
we'll
come,
let
then
him know.
we'll at
Yes.
least let him know. 'Cause
Good idea.
we can do that,
that's a good idea, and I do think it's important, like I said, if
because he won't be here, I don't believe, until the second meeting in April. And
That's
that's kind of a long time to wait.
Yeah.
And then I'll also have a motion prepared for you to direct me to advertise for the open seat. And we'll know what the term will be.
Well, if we
26.
appoint next meeting, somebody from the council, after that, we can advertise for
Yep.
a,
Yeah, but we need a motion for you guys to have me do that.
right.
yeah,
Yeah.
usually just to get the publication out.
Yep.
And like I said, give some thought between now and the 27th. I always think it's a good idea that somebody submits something in writing, because it shows a level of commitment, you know, I mean, you don't have to say 500 words, but it does show that you care about, and you can actually, some communities have actually asked 2 or 3 questions. Please address the following questions. Why do you want to serve the village of Armada? Those are just suggestions. Or you can keep it generic and just say letter of interest.
Yeah,
But I do think it's important that somebody that wants
Well-
the position at least kind of tells you guys, why I'm interested in coming on
Well,
I
board.
it would
guess
be nice
we've
if we were
always
one
in
to
the
one.
past,
But if it's.
I think, asked for a letter of interest, which may just be a sentence, you know?
Sure.
Yeah, and I'm just suggesting options you have.
Well,
but
if it comes down to, if we only get one, you only get one. But if you get 10, you're gonna wanna sit down
So-
with those 10 at, and I don't wanna say interview, but, have a discussion with them.
I guess everybody on this council, which I guess I would include the treasurer and the secretary myself, if you need to let, I guess maybe we let Michelle know, I don't know, if you would like to be considered for the presidency.
Well, I would just turn in a letter of, just say I'm interested in filling the spot.
Yeah.
That, again,
So, I
doesn't have to
mean-
be 500
Right.
words.
And I
you
just
know?
No,
want
it-
We all know who we are.
Yeah. In my case, it'll be one of them one sentences.
Well, that's fine.
But,
That's good, that's fine.
Again, everybody.
You don't plead your
you're
case in the
all-
letter.
You're all very, very capable and qualified, everybody on this board. So, I mean, if you're interested, put that into her.
I will, I just.
I gotta be honest with you, I've been thinking about this back and forth, and sometimes in my mind I really like the idea, and other times I don't like the idea.
It's one of
Some
those jobs.
days is good, some days is bad,
Yeah.
but
What you're trying to say.
But it is, I don't think any of us ever forget, but it is a privilege to serve on the board, to represent the people in your community, even though it doesn't always come across that way by folks, it is a privilege, and
It is.
They expect you to use good judgment.
Okay.
I
Well,
just
I
want
mean,
to add one other point, just kind of close the discussion. Do you have to pick amongst the pool of people who file a letter of interest? The answer is obviously no. Again, the only requirement is that they be electors. So don't, if you go through the process of looking at the people who submitted and you're not happy, you're not, it's not like, oh gosh, we got to take one of these.
you don't, okay.
You don't, you
Okay.
can pick anybody that's qualified, which means they're an elector of the village.
Okay. All right. Okay, good.
So, okay, are you done,
I sure am.
Mr. Barrister?
I-
Okay, departmental reports, commissioners, who would like to speak first?
All right, I'll go since I didn't look, and so I apologize to see if Ross, if you had your letter in there.
Right.
So,
I've got
okay.
my 10 pages.
No
I was gonna say, I didn't see it yesterday when I looked
Okay, I
through there.
I missed it then.
Okay,
A few things. So we've been working with, I need to make sure I get her, I gotta figure out how to say her name properly, Jean Pearsley, the
Yeah.
garden adopter, as she calls it.
Yeah.
On some snow removal in the downtown. She called with a complaint that, the snow and salt being put on the little island in front of the, there used to be licks, is killing the landscape that she plants and takes care of. So, we did some little fact find, did find out it was not, our DPW doing this, and it wasn't plowed, it was actually shoveled in. And so what I had to do is the last couple of times we photographed it, the before and after. And we do know that it's coming from the businesses, so. And so she's working with Chief and on how to address that with the business owners. I even also offered, because I have another resident that was questioning the snow emergency with a service, like, and he has that service. I said maybe if the downtown is interested, they can, if they want to contract someone instead of doing all their own snow removal themselves, be my guest, so for their sidewalks.
Where should they put it? I mean, I've watched a couple business owners just shovel it into the street. I didn't
That's-
think
they
you
don't
could
have
do that.
any other choice.
You don't, exactly,
Yeah.
other than, right, you're not, again, unless
Yeah.
you wanted to hire where they would do like what we, because what they're doing now is we come up in the inside and push it to the middle, and then we use the backhoe and dump truck to carry it away.
Well,
So,
I guess,
again, it's okay, they can push it to the street, and then they'll take care, but, again, it becomes, again, it's another after hours, because once they do it, because we're early, if they do 2-3 hours later, we have to then wait till the,
well, because I
cars and
know
stuff
that there were
clear.
some people that got letters for pushing snow into the
And it-
street.
Yeah.
And, I mean, now we're saying that the businesses can. I think, I
Okay, you should
don't
talk to-
know what the
Let's
other,
talk to Chief then, and we'll see what.
yeah, because I know letters went out.
But in the
Sure.
case of the business owners, they don't necessarily have any other place.
They don't.
Whereas like
A property.
Like
owner.
say at my
Yeah.
place, I can put the snow between the sidewalk and the street.
Yeah.
In the right of way there, yep.
So,
Well, these
I know
are
Ed always-
businesses with parking lots, so that's a
Sure.
little different because they're pushing the snow from their parking lot.
Right.
But
Ed never liked us to take our snow blowers and blow it into the street.
Nope,
So
absolutely.
I always try not to do that.
yeah,
That is
okay.
a no-no, so.
okay, all right, yeah, because I'd never thought about where they would put it. So,
Right.
Anything else, Chris?
So, yep, so anyway, so Jean, and
Yeah.
she was contact about getting a reimbursement.
I don't have a receipt from her.
I know
Yeah.
she said she'd come up with something.
Okay.
for
A
it.
reimbursement.
So.
We reimbursed
she-
$25.
She gets $25, but we didn't
For the
we didn't
gardens.
finish it.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Then the resident that called regarding snow, the snow emergency, Chief is looking into cost of the alert system. We do have like what constitutes the emergency, but still, how do you know it's on or not on? So one of the thoughts was, Chief had thought, well, if we look into the cost of that type where you can get a broadcast message out, and it's more than just for the snow, it can be for anything you want it to be. Lost, pets, whatever, endangered person, whatnot, can all be put there. So we'll see what that is, and then I talked to the DP about, when we come back and how close we can get to curbs. I did explain to the rep in question, sometimes because of tree overhangs and things like that, they just can't get that close to the curb. But they'll try, and then if there's cars that get parked in, when we come back to clean, they will come back to clean up. But again, like the last time, if it's gonna be 40-50 degrees the next day or two later, that's probably not gonna happen. But if we, continue cold weather and that, they will come back and do the cleanup work, so.
Okay.
And the last note, I did find out today that I'm gonna have to work with Roe on getting our bridge load rating certifications updated and resubmitted to the state. So we have 2 bridges that need some paperwork updates that I am disappointed to hear that we need to do, but since last year we approved them.
Thought we
to-
did that every year.
No, that's the inspection.
Oh.
So so a couple years, there was a legislation had that required us to have a very specific package of load ratings and calculations, and then who can do it, who can sign it, who can approve it type of thing. And apparently ours, we hired Rowe. I had council approve measure so that we could pay them to do it, those last two bridges, and when Doug was here. And we assumed that it was complete, but it turns out there's a few things that need to be corrected, so. So I did contact Paul O'Meara today and let him know that I expect those to be fixed, but then I also expect it not to be paying for it either, because we've already paid for it once.
Oh, right, yeah,
So,
yeah.
Okay,
very good, thank
thank
you.
you, Chris. Ross?
FYI, in the past, we've put snow emergency information on Channel 6.
Mhm.
So
Yeah.
we need
How
to
would they do
answer
that,
this.
Joe?
Get in touch with me,
Okay,
or call the office, just prepare something in
Call
the
me,
office
okay.
and
Yeah.
fax it over to the studio.
backs over to the studio, okay.
And I still think that's the way it goes, one form, I mean, again, it just isn't quite, we're not gonna be able to reach everybody.
Right, and it's just a nice effort that we made
Yeah,
to
we're
get
good.
it to everybody.
Well, I do know the fire department has an alert system, they text, I think. I believe they put that into place. Be
Okay.
interested to know what they have,
Sure.
you know,
Yeah, I think the chief was gonna talk to the fire chief
Yeah.
about that.
yeah, okay.
That'd be pretty neat. Okay, some water stuff. The system went into a backwash mode on 4 March. No issues, so the repairs, fixes we made with the current arsenic sump seem to be holding up just fine. No issues at the wastewater treatment plant. So with respect to that, we've had kind of on the books this, Jeff's gonna probably kill me, but this new arsenic detention sump. It's really shovel ready. We went through the process to get an easement with the county and all that. At this point, there doesn't seem to be a reason to move forward with that. Changing the media in the water treatment plant and filtration vessels seems to have ameliorated the issues with high arsenic levels going down to the wastewater treatment plant. So unless somebody knows something I don't know, I'm gonna shelve that project. We're starting to come to the end of the period for the various permits that we had taken out. We haven't taken out many, there's a couple still to go, but no reason to move forward on that right now. You remember that project 3 to 4 years ago was $280,000. Today it's about $580,000. It's out of our budget, so I'm going to shelve it and tell Rowe not to do any more work on it. And they haven't for about the last year and a half, and they keep saying, ready to go, ready to go? No, we're not ready to go. About 6-7 months ago, we replaced all of our LMI chlorine pumps in the well houses and the water treatment plant. Turns out that the chlorine room at the water treatment plant requires a different pump. So we've maintained the LMI pump that was there, but we do want to get these new Stenner pumps in place, and we have worked with Stenner to come up with the appropriate Stenner pump to replace the LMI pump.
Where is that?
Uh,
Is that in the subdivision over there?
No, this is water treatment plant, and you've got a small door on the right-hand side, which is a
Oh,
chlorine.
in the
room.
arsenic treatment plant?
Water
Okay.
treatment plant.
Yeah.
Yeah, and so that pump continues to be an LMI pump. The LMI is not in good shape. I do need to change it out with the right Stenner. So we're gonna take the extra one we bought for that room. It's good to have a spare. We'll keep it as a spare, even though the Stenners do not break down nearly as much or require as much maintenance. We'll keep it as a spare, but I do need to buy a new Stenner pump. I've tried to source it at 4 locations. 2, I got no responses back after a number of calls. Cannon Water wanted $2,800. I've told Dave to go ahead and order it out of USA Blue Book, which was at a cost of $2,169.57, so that we get that taken care of. The LMI pump leaks, and it's destroying the new scale that we got in there, so I gotta fix that. The last, nope, two more. I did have UIS skate out to look at a couple things in the village, and while they were at well house number 7, they identified the variable frequency drive pump. Variable frequency drive, which is attached to the pump. It's not the pump itself, it's not the casing. In that well house is about 5 years beyond its serviceable life. Continues to run, it's not broken down. But I am having those guys give me a price for a new pump. We are expected to empty the water tower this summer as part of routine maintenance. Pumps will run continuously for a number of days. I guarantee you, if it's gonna fail, that's when it's gonna fail.
That's what'll do it.
So I just, not saying we gotta buy one yet, don't know what the cost is, but I have them looking. So this is just kind of a preparatory note that we may have to do this at some point. And then last but not least, worked with Steve and Chris and Dave Wagner. You know, we've been working for the last year to get information on the infrastructure of the village, the street condition, the water distribution system underground, the sanitary system, the stormwater system. We've taken all of our assessments, we've crunched all the data, we've come up with a spreadsheet. I have sent all that information off to F&V Engineering, who is going to give us our updated capital improvement plan. This is all part of this contract that we let a year ago to do this. Said I was going to give a report to council, but I think we'll wait for F&V to come back with the official report rather than I give you guys.
Now, is this for like under the roads and
This is,
everything?
yeah, this
The roads
is,
themselves and the
Everything.
Wouldn't that go to road though, not F, why would it go to F&V?
we hired F&V to do this one, help us out with this, so they've done some mapping for us. F&V did the original capital improvement plan for, it was largely water infrastructure, about 2 years ago really. They had some minor street and sanitary stuff in there, but we didn't have enough data. So, and that was a great report. Talked about all of the potential funding sources for this, and had a lot of information on the cost for the water infrastructure. But we really need to get water, sewer and streets. So what we will get back is an abbreviated capital improvement plan update. I said, take out all the boilerplate. I don't want anything about pie in the sky funding. What are we likely to be able to qualify for if we go out and have to borrow? Or are there grant opportunities? Probably not. So give us the down and dirty, and then take the information on the infrastructure, and we said prioritize these things, and these things are secondary. Tell us what the estimated cost is going to be. Got to know that. And then, we've kind of talked about 2024, 2025 would be the first best opportunity to do any infrastructure updates in a big way. Chris is going to do some stuff with Lathrop, but the first consolidate is not the right word. What's the word I'm looking for? First large-scale effort that we would do to replace infrastructure could be then if all the planets align. But the first thing we had to do is what's the worst of the worst, and how do we prioritize it? So, long story short, all that information has gone to F&V. They'll come back with a report within probably a month, because their contract ends at the end of March, and then it's going to be up to council to decide what happens next.
You're working on a new contract, aren't you?
No, this is, we're kind of where we need to be.
Okay.
And then
But
council.
we
gets
are
all
for the
this.
sewer.
what for the sewer?
Well, aren't we working on a new contract for them, or when does that,
Operations.
It's, I say, F&V operations.
Ross and I had a meeting with them month and a half ago.
Yeah.
Just kind of a general, are you happy with things, what would you like to see change type situation, really not to do with
right, I know.
renewing the
When is their
contract.
contract up? The
You know,
total
I'm not
contract?
sure.
What may be getting lost here is there's F&V operations runs water
Sewer
treatment
plant.
plant,
Yeah.
wastewater treatment plant. F&V engineering,
Okay,
if I,
It's a separate.
so you're talking about the
Okay.
engineering,
Okay.
He's talking about the engineering.
operations,
Man, you
okay,
scared me
Yeah.
there for a
I'm
second.
sorry,
Yeah,
Okay.
it's another division,
okay,
same company.
yeah,
All right,
okay, makes sense. You good, boss?
yeah, unless there's any questions about any of that stuff.
Okay,
Okay.
once we close it, you can't.
I got it.
Okay,
Mr.
Lyle,
President,
yes.
I have my police action report for February 2023. There were 65 traffic tickets issued. There was 3 driving while license was suspended. There was 4 assists to EMS. Assist to other agencies was 6. Suspicious situation was 3. Dog and animal complaints were 2. Alarm and open door were 2. Lockouts were 1. Juvenile related was 0. Miscellaneous calls for service was 4. And motor vehicle accidents was 1. As of February 27th, 2023, miles on the patrol car, 431, were 83,241. 432 of the F-150 was 19,245, and 433, the unmarked Dodge, was 63,096. Also, the chief has informed me that we are taking back any unused drugs that the people may have, and bring them up here to the police station, give them to one of the officers, and we will dispose of them for you.
Oh, good.
We do not want those flushed down the sanitary sewers. Please, don't do that. Some of these chemicals have an effect on fish and aquatic life, and they aren't good. And so we ask that you please bring them up here to the police department and have them disposed of properly.
And those are unused, or outdated, unused prescriptions.
That's correct.
yep.
Hey, Lyle,
Yeah.
under the head here of assist other agencies, I don't know if that necessarily means that they did something inside, or is that when they had to go outside of the village?
That could be either.
But I think I would like to see, I think we all would like to know, just so we have an idea how much this happens. If we knew how many times our village officers had to go out of town.
It's like a mutual aid.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because,
Good.
you know, I always think that, of course, if there's emergency, we need to do that.
Sure.
But one thought that always comes back to me is, anytime our officers go out of town, the people who are paying the bill are now no longer covered.
That's right.
And so I like just to have an idea on that.
Okay.
And then I also think it's just something you should consider, even though the townships always refuse to pay any bills, but the township cannot reciprocate. It's not really mutual aid. We go there to assist the sheriff's department or the state police, and we're glad to do so. But if we go out into the township for any reason, I would like to send them a bill. At least I know Chief Smith had it kind of figured out what our hourly rate was. Send them a bill at cost, but we are incurring an expense to cover them,
Exactly.
and we would like to be covered. Now, that's just something I'd like you to think about.
I'll work on that with the chief.
Well, I got one too. I've gotten a couple questions about old ammunition, corroded ammunition. police department take back?
I don't know, but I will find out, and I'll bring it back to
Appreciate
you.
that.
How much do you have?
I got it.
I'll keep it all in mind.
Yeah,
Yeah, he's got something from, the first Iraq War that he would like to get rid of.
It's, no big stuff, just
Yeah.
little stuff.
Okay, you're covered, Lyle? Is there any other departmental reports?
Dave, if you can give this to Michelle, that's a signed copy.
Okay. Michelle. My pal. Okay. Sometimes it's a little fun being up here. Sometimes it's
You're
not.
enjoying this too much.
It's fun today. So, now consent agenda, can I have a motion to cover the consent agenda?
Mr. President, I'll move the consent agenda be accepted as presented.
Support.
Okay. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion's approved. No old business to discuss today. New business. We need to go into the public hearing. Pardon?
You need a motion and then it's a roll call.
Yeah,
Yep.
and when we make the motion to go into the public hearing, I'd like to just allow 1 minute so I can use the restroom. I had a big cup of coffee before I got here.
Fine.
So,
Okay. Mr. President, I'll resolve to enter into a public hearing to consider adoption of a resolution confirming the annual special assessment role in the Village of Armada Police Special Assessment District at
740.
740.
We'll give Dave a little extra.
Give him another
Support.
minute.
okay. You guys
Okay.
are so good.
This is a roll. So Ballard,
Yes.
Belkey,
Yes.
Clark,
Yes.
Sleds,
Yes.
Conan.
Yes? Motion's approved. So we'll go into public hearing at 7:40?
Yeah. Go do your thing.
Okay.
We need the whole music. Do, do,
Now we need a president pro town.
do, do.
Dave's created a line now.
So this resolution does not say the mills, it just says the amount.
Yes.
Yeah.
Mills, I don't,
I know, we talked, but all right.
no, it doesn't, it's just spreading
It
that
just,
cost.
it's just the cost.
It's spreading the cost
Yep.
over.
Just not the way we want it to be. I'm sure what Joe would like that too.
So, 'cause
Yes.
it's
This
attached.
is real life.
Real life drama.
Yeah, where is the one?
What's the
For this?
I am.
Got it Monday the 13th.
I haven't any ready.
Yeah, Monday the 13th.
Yeah.
A whole new series.
Just
of
go back.
movies.
I've been in,
Okay.
I'll just
That's
take a
perfect,
copy.
because it'll give me time to
Yeah.
see what,
Yeah.
so we
That's
got
fine.
this, they're using
I did.
Microsoft Teams to chat,
Because this is my first one.
so
So in case anybody has
this is
questions.
on
We don't
controls
have
engineers.
in here
There's some-
It does, no, it's an
talk to each
amount,
other, they
it's
message,
not
but
the
I-
mills.
I own it,
Okay.
so I do- that's
The-
how
No,
we
the
look at our
amounts
teams.
in the
Just
resolution,
one
you're
of these
adopting the
messages
resolution.
coming back.
Okay.
Okay.
No, something's
everybody?
going on the line, some good or bad.
Chris,
Yes, ma'am.
during the public comment, just let the public speak. If they don't speak, we'll just close it out and then we can talk, okay?
Okay, fair enough.
Okay, so floor is open to public.
Well,
Got
Wait a
mine.
minute.
I'll hold this vote.
Yeah, it's fine, you can do that. And I pointed out to these guys, this, the motion is to adopt the resolution. That's what has the amount in it, and there's no mills or anything mentioned, so you'll wanna mention.
so
it.
we're just gonna kinda go into public hearing and out of it.
Yeah, well, unless Kevin's got a lot to say, or Stacy or Joe, I think we're,
It always amazes
Think
me
you're
how
going
much
in and
we
out.
have to say on Facebook, but
yeah.
nobody, okay,
I'm not a keyboard warrior.
We'll go into the public hearing now.
Yeah, you're in.
So we are now in public hearing to discuss the PA
But we
33.
are not discussing it. It's only open to the floor. So if anybody on the floor has anything to say,
Is there any questions from the floor about the PA 33?
okay, so we can close the public hearing then.
Okay,
Mr. President, I make a motion, we exit the public hearing at, still say 7:40, can't we?
7:41.
7:41.
Not by my clock.
okay.
No, that's fine, whatever.
Did you second, Chris?
Second.
All right, this one does not involve roll.
Does not involve
All in favor?
Aye.
a roll. Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. So,
Do you want me to talk or do you want?
yep, go ahead.
Okay, so every year, we do this, this is our PA 33, which is the Police Special Assessment District role. It affects all the personal, no, what is it? Real property, I knew there was a word, not personal, in the entire village, so nobody's been, just sectioned out, but, usually we drop it by 0.25. This year we are doing the same. And all council really needs to do is adopt the resolution. Jeff, if you have anything to add, you can add that, but we do this every year. It's the same thing we do every year.
No, we're fulfilling our requirement that we hold a public hearing. Anybody that would wish to comment had the opportunity. So now the resolution that's before you will spread the cost of police services in the district, which is $89,585.63. That's spread over the roughly 660 parcels that are in the district, based on taxable values.
Okay, so,
Mr. President, I'll resolve to adopt the resolution confirming the special assessment role for the purpose of defraying police protection costs in the Armada Village Police Special Assessment District and directing further proceedings for the collection and distribution of the special assessment levy on the taxable value of all lands and premises in the district.
Support.
motion by Ballard, supported by Clark. Do we need a roll on this?
Yep. Ballard,
Yes.
Clark,
Yes.
Wolock. Oh, good. Oh my goodness. That was a Freudian slip. Wow. Conan,
Yes.
just thinking about you, Mark.
It's not for
Sleds
Yes.
and Belkey.
Yes.
Rude.
Alright, we know
Pretty sure
he's
Mark's
here in
here in
spirit.
spirit, that's for
Yes,
sure.
yes. Wow.
So, okay, that motion's approved. Moving on, approval of the license agreement?
Nope. Yep, nope, I'm sorry.
Yeah,
It is, I'm sorry, that's my bad. Sorry. Okay, go ahead.
Oh,
You're good.
I can move on,
Yeah, you
okay.
can. I gotta have.
Okay, under new business, item B, approval of license agreement between the Village of Armada and David and Carrie Circone. And this is about the authorizing them to put a fence. They live on the northwest corner of Birch Street here, and they can put a fence right next to their lot, right on the lot line.
They're gonna put it on our
It's
property.
gonna be on ours.
It's on the village property, that's why we needed the license agreement.
Between the sidewalk and the,
The village
Between
owns
them all.
that strip.
okay.
So, yeah, it's a little confusing there, but yeah, so, Jeff prepared this for them to sign. As long as it goes through today, they will be in tomorrow to sign it, so.
So may I have a motion, please?
Make a motion to approve the license to allow a privacy fence to be constructed on village property and authorize the village president and clerk to sign it on behalf of the village.
Motion by Belkey,
Support.
supported by Ballard. All in favor?
Oh,
I'm sorry.
Just a question.
Eddie, yeah, right, I should have asked for discussion anyhow, I'm sorry.
You're fine. I'm assuming the license assumes that they're gonna follow the zoning ordinance and the construction of the fence.
Yeah, they're required to, good question, Ross. They're required to construct it in conformance with all of the village's building requirements, zoning requirements.
Thank you.
That's all I have.
Yeah. Number 6, right?
All in favor of the motion?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion's carried.
And Jeff, this is the same, it's just like we would be, this is when we talked about licensing, this is what you, this
That's
is the
what I would
format.
suggest.
Perfect.
We would just need to get the legal description for that
Okay.
parcel.
Yep, so Ross just goes in, and if you talk to Minister Nichols, and this is the same type of thing we're gonna do with the granary,
Perfect.
Lance, because he is actually the property owner, so Steve can participate, but it's gonna be between us and him, but similarly, that's what we'll do for that.
Now, we do have some budget amendments we need to make.
As discussed in the budget meetings.
Yes.
Okay. Mr. President, I will move to approve the attached budget amendments as presented, which brings the total estimated fund balances for the local street fund from $45,643.60 to $2,723.60. The major street fund from $177,738.84 to $93,802.84. The municipal street fund from $438,354.65 to $386,354.65. The water fund from $272,783.15 to $5,379.15.
Support.
We probably should have a roll call on
Yep.
this.
Yep. Ballard.
Yes?
Where are you? Sledge.
Yes.
Belkey.
Yes.
Conan.
Yes.
Clark.
Yes.
Okay. That good, Ann?
Yes, sir, thank you.
Okay. SEMCOG membership, we've been talking about this,
Yes, they had that nice presentation.
and we have a motion here to do a membership. Ross, would you like to make this motion?
Yeah, just, I think everybody here knows, this is the Armada of 2023, it's not the Armada of 1893. We gotta stay on top of changes in the region, or it's my fear that the village is gonna be a shell of itself in 50 years. So it's a reason to become affiliated with SEMCOG. I believe Sterling Heights is a big member of SEMCOG, Jeff. And so we did have the presentation by the SEMCOG representatives. So they provide a number of services, and just council, it's up to us to reach out and use those services. So, but it's a steal for $852 a year, I think, if we tap into them. So I'm gonna make a motion.
Before you do so, it looks like the agreement, we need to select a delegate. So, is that Ross?
Is that true or not?
Yeah.
Oh,
They want
yeah,
a
it
point of
says the
contact.
delegate must be elected, okay.
Or should it be the president, or, well, I mean, I
The
got,
clerk?
yeah.
Go to the SEMCOG meetings and.
Would somebody on the board like to be the SEMCOG?
Delegate,
I would take it if nobody else wants it.
okay.
Would anybody else want it? Ross said he'll do
Well,
it.
there can be up to 3. So
but-
if somebody else.
Well, you know
More the
what?
merrier.
Let's get this approved. Probably you're in on this, Ross, but we don't necessarily have to do this right now, do we?
Yes,
Yeah, you
because,
do.
yes, you
It's
do.
part of the.
So I
Okay,
would
well,
like-
we gotta be a member before we can appoint somebody.
But I think at the end, we should say at the end of that motion, and to appoint blah, blah, blah as our delegate.
Okay, I'm good with that. Ross, this is kinda your baby. if you'd like to make that motion, and you can put yourself in it.
Okay, do we want other people, or Steve?
Do we have some other people that would like to also be on there, right? So we could have up to 3, and Michelle, we're including you guys
I know,
too.
I'm writing.
Oh, no, I'm just saying, if you want, I'm not trying
Yeah, no, I
to get
know.
you to volunteer. I'm just telling you it's open to you.
Yeah.
I don't know if, where did we come up with that 3 can be in? I've got seen.
Well, it says here, it says delegate here, and then on the next page it says alternate may be elected. Oh, I'm sorry, 2. So I'm sorry, 2.
Oh, yeah, too.
Oh, I
Yeah.
don't think I have that second.
So I
It's-
might recommend it be
Section, okay.
myself and
Oh,
Michelle.
okay.
Okay. All right, so to represent the village. Yeah, just put me in a secondary.
And again,
I don't drive.
this is
Detroit.
something we're
It's
looking
big.
at. It's you know, it's still $800, and we're not a council that, you know, tries to waste money. We'll see how this works, and we don't have to stay a member if we don't want to, but again, I'm not trying to knock those 1893 people. I think they give us a pretty good basis. But, you know, we'll take a look and see how this goes. Hopefully it'll be a very good deal for us. If it's not, you don't have to stay in it.
So at the end of that, I would say to appoint Ross Belkey and Michelle Polis as delegates to represent the village.
Okay. So,
Okay.
would you rather not make the motion seeing how your name's in it, Ross?
Yeah.
First, I called upon you because you were the one that brought it to the council.
Mr. President, I'll resolve to request a membership in the Southeast Michigan Council of Governments, SEMCOG, for the period of 1 April 2023 through 31 March 2024, and to allow the clerk to sign the SEMCOG intergovernmental agreement and pay the subsequent invoice on behalf of the village, and to appoint Ross Belkey and Michelle Polis to represent the village.
Perfect. Support.
Some motion by Ballard, supported by Belkey. I think we could just do this, we don't have to.
No, because we don't have the invoice yet, so the invoice is
So,
coming after they
okay.
have to accept us as members.
Yeah.
So we're applying to be members.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Okay, motion passed. So, moving on to section E,
Now, we're not doing that until after we do the executive session. It's just-
approval of, oh yeah, I see that, no, we can't.
Yeah,
So we need
to move into executive
to
session.
move into executive session
But
tonight.
we need to note that we will be coming back after executive session. The camera will be off during executive session, obviously. Joe will come back in and turn it back on and tape the final. We'll just be closing out and possibly making one motion after this, after this executive.
So, do I have a motion to go into executive session?
Mr. President, I'll move to enter into executive session at 7:55 PM after a 5-minute recess.
Support.
All right, and this I need to do roll. So Ballard,
Yes.
Sleds,
Yes.
where are you? Oh. Belkey,
Yes.
Conan,
Yes.
Clark.
Yes.
Okay, so a few minutes, we'll get back into executive session. Now,
I just lost one.
Now your next
Piece of paper.
Is,
approval
Mr.
of
President, I resolve to approve the employment agreement between the Village of Armada and Richard Mayerly.
Support.
Could we just add authorize the,
And authorize the
Clerk,
president and the clerk to sign the agreement.
Support.
let's have a roll call on that,
We don't need
please.
a roll call.
Okay, yeah.
You want one?
Yeah.
Yeah, we should. It's a good-
Ballard,
Yes.
Sleds,
Yes.
Belkey,
Yes.
Conan,
Yes.
Clark.
Yep.
So, upcoming agenda items.
Do you have any appointments?
You got the one.
Appointments, budget workshop
Now-
next meeting.
Upcoming appointment of president,
Village president vacancy appointment, yeah.
budget workshop,
Budget,
Cross it
public
off.
hearing,
what?
budget, public
Public hearing.
hearing.
Budget public hearing.
Yeah, that's not easy to say, is it? And then presidential appointment.
Presidential appointment. Are there any other? Ross, Chris, you got anything?
No?
Steve, Lyle?
Nope.
No?
Okay, moving on then, citizens comment. Kevin?
No, thank you.
Well, you've been doing good, Kevin.
Come to our meetings.
Council comments.
Just like to comment on our DPW, they did a good job during the big snows that we had.
An excellent job.
Yeah.
Great job, and those guys are out bright and early. In fact, it's not so bright, it's dark and early, but they're out.
Yep.
Any other council comments? Okay, we got some community events coming up.
Too cold.
Too early for any Easter stuff, so.
Don't know.
Okay. We've already had our closed session, so I will entertain a motion.
The time is 8:22. I move to adjourn.
Support.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Would have to do.